Is this an issue that's like getting too hot to handle? I mean, do you feel it?
I don't think it's getting too hot to handle. I certainly think it's something that we have to be aware of. And every time I go out to a school and every time I talk to teachers, you know, one of the first things that I do is I say, okay, I know I've heard all the rumors. I'm trying to fire black teachers. I'm trying to fire old teachers. You've all heard it, right? And then they start laughing because they all have heard those
You've been
rumors.
hiring a lot of Asian teachers.
No, I haven't. But, you know, by me sort of putting that on the table and saying, I know that this is what people are saying, that sort of puts people a little bit more at ease because they understand. And then I say to them, I said, you know, my focus is on ensuring that we don't have ineffective teachers in the classroom.
Right.
But there's been this picture sort of painted out there that I'm going to arbitrarily start getting rid of people and that lots of good teachers are going to be fired. And what I tell teachers all the time is, why would I ever put in place a system where we might fire a really good teacher? That doesn't benefit me at all. It does not behoove me to have a system that is not fair and consistent and ensures that the best teachers in this system are absolutely going to be retained.
Do you ever have moments with the mayor, for example, where you do any talk about what it means to be a Korean American woman trying to bring a revolution to a largely African American school community?
No.
Do you ever think about it yourself?
No.
Because it gets written about, so it's...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more interesting for people to write about than it actually is a reality.
What do you think they're trying to say, though? I mean, what do you think is at the root of it? Is there some prejudice against you there based on your background?
You know what? I think that probably Cliff Janey and Arlene Ackerman would say that people hated them just as much, and they were older African American folks. You know, I think that one very significant advantage that I have is that I have kids who are in DCPS schools.
Are they in a charter school or a traditional school? No,
they're in a traditional DCPS school. And what that does is it allows me to talk about these reforms also from a parent perspective. And there is not a parent that I have met, a mother that I've met anywhere in the city who wants anything different for her kids than what I want for my kids. And so when I can break it down to that level, you know, even though when I first meet people, they might be a little skeptical of me and they think, well, what is this Korean lady doing here and that sort of thing. By the time I leave, I think everybody, whether they agree with me or not, clearly all of them would agree that I feel very passionately about my job and ensuring that the children of this city get the education they deserve. I don't think anybody says, you know, that I don't do that.
Right. Are you at an impasse with the teachers union?
We are not at an impasse yet.
But
we may shortly be at an impasse.
Are you getting dangerously close to risking a teacher strike?
No, they're not allowed to strike.
They're not,
they have a no strike clause.
But they could.
I actually don't think that a teachers union strike is on the horizon at all. What would happen if we cannot come to resolution and we reach an impasse, then we would go to arbitration. And that would last for years. And I think that would all be unfortunate because what that would result in is then teachers would not get raises and, you know, this would sort of be left in the hands of other people, which I don't think is the place where we want it. Now, if that's where we have to end up, then that's where we have to end up. But I don't think it brings any benefit to teachers because this contract and this proposal that we put together really is going to do amazing things for the effective teachers in this city.
Let me ask you something. You're borderline too young maybe to remember it, but Ronald Reagan and the air traffic controllers.
Yes.
And remember they struck and he effectively broke the union. Would that happen?
No,
would you bring in, if they struck, would you bring in scabs? So to speak?
No, I mean, I think that we have in place a process that basically articulates what happens if you come to impasse on a contract. So I don't think we're running the risk of anything like that. I'm not worried at all.
Is the issue with the teacher's contract now down to this, and I'm going to let you explain it, the red tier and the green tier?
Yeah.
Is that really the sticking point?
It is a large part of the sticking point.
Do you want to explain it to everyone,
sure,
please?
Gladly. So what we have proposed is a radically different compensation system for teachers. And what we've done is we've said every teacher will have the ability to choose whether they want to go on the red tier or the green tier. The red tier, first of all, everyone across the board, whether you're in red or green, everyone gets huge raises. So that's
What's an average teacher's salary now?
The average first-year teacher gets paid $40,000 a year. At the higher end, the base salary for veteran teachers is $68,000.
So this goes up anywhere from 10 to 20%?
No, this goes up a whole lot more than that. So under the new system, if you choose the green tier, you get a higher base salary and you have huge bonus possibilities, such that if you're a first-year teacher now making $40,000 under the green system, if your kids are achieving at the highest levels, you can make up to $78,000 a year as opposed to 40. And at the higher end of the tenure scale, if you are a veteran teacher, currently the base is $63,000, those teachers could make up to $131,000 in the new compensation system. Now the catch is that that we actually, when you if you choose to go onto green, and this is the sort of biggest challenge, you go into a probationary status, which means you give up your tenure for a year. And this is sort of what the whole sticking point is. Now, it's your choice. So a lot of people are sort of concerned about what that means, the green tier, giving up tenure, that sort of thing. The bottom line is that if, for whatever reason, you are worried about that, you don't trust your principal, you don't trust me, whatever it is, then you can actually stay on the red tier. And on the red tier, those teachers will still get a 28% raise. And get $10,000 in cash for being part of the reform effort. So when we crafted this entire plan, I literally came out and thought, I am going to be the hero of the teachers in Washington, D.C. What more could you ask for in life, right? You have a choice. You don't have to go on green, but if you do want to go on green, you got these huge awards. And I was absolutely wrong. What I didn't take into consideration was the fact that there is such mistrust of the system that people immediately move to, well, why is she doing this? And you can't be divisive. Everybody has to be treated the same. We don't want people to get
But you can't do that in a revolution, can you?
No, you can't.
But let me ask you this. If you're a parent, wouldn't you call up and say, well, I want a teacher that took the green tier? I don't want a teacher that took the red tier?
I think that depends on the kind of parent that you are. I mean, I certainly, this is the interesting thing about this. From first-year teachers, who it's hugely beneficial for new teachers to go onto the green system, obviously, but we have some of our staunchest advocates of this plan are 34 and 35-year veterans of this system. People who will, in public, say, I have for 34 years, put my blood, sweat, and tears into this job. I deserve to get paid more than, a six-figure salary. And furthermore, I've seen people, my colleagues, who come in, who half the time they don't come in, they're not doing good things for kids. Those people do not belong in this profession, and we should be moving them out aggressively, or they shouldn't at least be getting paid as much as I'm getting paid. So we have people all across the spectrum in terms of the teacher ranks who really support this effort. And even though in the media it's being portrayed as the young versus the old, it's actually not like that at all. We have a lot of veteran teachers who are great teachers who write me emails all the time, and they say, I can go on probationary status, I don't care, because I'm a great teacher and I know I'm good. So why would that bother me?
What percentage of the existing DC teacher force is what you would define as really good teachers?
Well, I mean, if you look at our student achievement levels, you know that we have some significant problems. And so
But the problems come from many directions.
Problems come from many directions, but it is our responsibility as a school district to ensure that despite all of the obstacles that our kids face, that they're still achieving at the highest
But are
levels.
half the teachers really good teachers?
I wouldn't put a percentage on it. What I'll say is this: I think we have many people who are in the teaching ranks who every day just do incredibly heroic things for kids. I mean, they spend their own money, they work incredibly long days.
I would imagine just being a DC teacher is doing something
You know,
fairly heroic.
being an effective urban teacher, a teacher in an urban city, is the hardest job there is. There's just, I did it for 3 years, and I can tell you
In
that there was
Baltimore, right?
nothing harder than teaching.